Good morning, one and all. This is Udeshri, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in St. Peter's Engineering College. In today's class, let us know about the evaluation criteria for CAD-CAM system. This is a part of Unit 1 of CAD-CAM. So, while selecting some CAD/CAM system or while installing a CAD/CAM system into our organization, we consider few factors. The first one is the system consideration. There are four things in system consideration. First one is hardware, next is the software, maintenance, and vendor support and service. Now, let us first look at what is hardware. Hardware includes all the specifications of the system which you are installing, like your uh, graphic card, RAM, uh, all these things. So, and the screen size and all these things comes into picture. So, what is the memory of that particular system? How many files we can store? How many GBs of data we can store? So, we consider all these factors while selecting the system which we are using for the CAD/CAM environment. Next one is software. What type of software is suitable for making the design? See, for example, if you are going for some solid modeling, so we generally prefer ProE or Unigraphics for solid modeling. And similarly, CATIA is some software which is more suitable for surface modeling. So like this, what type of software we need to choose for performing the design and manufacturing operations in the CAD/CAM environment? And also, what is your operating system, like Windows and all? Okay. Next one is maintenance. Maintenance is how the supplier is responding when there is a repair, and how frequently you're going for maintenance. We have to think of these things. Next one is vendor support and service. So how well the vendor is supporting and how well he is providing the service when there is a problem with the CAD/CAM system. It means the computer which you are using and also the software which you have installed. Next one is geometric modeling capabilities. It means when you are installing some software. So we have a few softwares which are more suitable for solid modeling, few are more suitable for surface modeling, few are good for making analysis, few are good for making 2D drafting. So like this. So depending upon your requirement, you have to choose the software which you need to install. So here there are few things that we have to take into consideration while selecting a CAD/CAM system. So the first thing in geometric modeling capabilities is representation techniques. It means how well you can see the component, the 3D structure of the component, what colors you can give, what mechanical properties you can give, how well you can make the 3D model, how well you can make its assembly, how well you can design its mechanisms, how you can see its animation, how well you can perform an analysis, how good is the software for meshing, what are the different options available, whether you need to go get into all the options or is everything available. So all these things we consider. So how well you can look at the front view, top view, side view, isometric view, and how well you can rotate the component and see in that in that software. So all these things we look into uh, while selecting the CAD/CAM system. Next one is coordinate system and input. So what type of coordinates is that using, and what is the input, whether the input should be in inches or or feet. But whatever the softwares that are available presently in the CAD are suitable for making changing units from any unit to any unit. It means from inches to feet or feet to anything. So any conversation can be done in the systems, the CAD/CAM systems which are presently available. Next one is modeling entities. So what are the various options you have for creating a 3D model? What are the standard primitives that you have? How well you can choose the component, choose the model very easily. See, for example, take example of ProE. If you look at the options, see, most of the options are hidden inside. But if you look at Unigraphics, everything will be visible on the screen and you can pick the component which you want. You need to just give the inputs and system will give you the required component. So like this, how easily you can use the software, and what are the different standard components that are available in its part library. It means, see for example, if you are using some screws, nut, washer and all, so these things we don't take a design and we make the model. So these things will be already available in the system. We just give the input values and select the required component. So that is about modeling entities. Next one is editing and manipulating. If there is some design change by the customer, then we need to change those particular dimensions. So while making the design calculations or design changes, then we have to modify the component from the beginning till the end. See, for example, if you are making some component taking some square or rectangular surface as reference. Now, when you are building an another component over this surface, taking the existing surface as reference, then what happens is the entire component will get disturbed. So in order to avoid this, what we do is we make modifications from first step till last step. It means if you are modifying at the surface level of the first component, then the second step, third step, means wherever you have taken this surface as reference, we'll check all the dimensions and we modify. So we'll check how easy is to make these editings. And manipulation is, say for example, uh, if you have made some drafting and you have given the fillet radius as 2 mm. So now if there is some design change from the customer, or else there is a design change, you have mistyped it. There is some difference here. So instead of making the 2 mm to 4 mm, what generally they'll do is they just manipulate it. Instead of keeping 2 mm, they just write it 4 mm there. So that is called manipulation. So this manipulation should also be done easily. Means manipulation is not preferable always, but the software should be capable of doing even manipulations also. Next one is graphic standards. Means how complicated parts, how well you can look at the complicated parts, how well you can have its 3D visualization, how well you can make an assembly, how well you can see its 3D animation. So what are the graphics you have? See, if the software is more colorful, if you have so many options, if you can look at each and every part very clearly, if you can make a boundary line over each and every component, each and every edge, then it becomes easy for us to look at the component, understand the component. So sometimes in few softwares what happens is, you can just see a white or gray color model and you cannot make any other changes. If you can see the edge lines and all, that becomes easy for us to understand the model, the 3D model which we have. Next one is evaluation design and documentation. So here, after making a 3D model and after performing some engineering analysis, we make the drafting of the component. Drafting in the sense, placing the component on a sheet and where you will represent the front view, top view, side view, isometric view, sectional views, detailed views. So all the views, whatever the views that you require for the understanding of that particular component, we keep all the views in the drawing sheet and we mention its dimensions along with the tolerances. So how well you can make this drafting using the particular software, we consider that factor. And another thing is, we have few softwares where if you just keep the component on the drafting platform, whatever the dimensions you have given, it will show all the dimensions. So it's up to you what are the things that you want to keep and what are the things you want to delete. But software will give you the provision, means it will automatically generate the dimensions also. If you don't want those things and if you want to represent the drawing with some other dimensions, you have flexibility of representing. But however, we look at the drafting possibilities, means how easily you can make the drafting using that particular software. Next one is its applications. Application is how you can use this software in the design field. It means whether you can use it for a modeling purpose, whether you can use it for analysis purpose, or whether you can use it for sheet metal sheet surface modeling and all. So we consider these things, how well you can apply it in the design platform and also in the manufacturing platform. In the sense, if few softwares are suitable for generating a process sheet and few are designed for making a NC program and few are designed for operating the machine. So like this, what is the software that you are choosing and how well you can apply it in the design and manufacturing fields. Next one is programming languages supported. See, what we can just find a 3D model on the screen, but we cannot see what is happening behind it. So every software is designed with some particular language, and that's the thing. See, when you are making a 3D model in some software, assume you are making some 3D model in Pro E. Okay, so the software which is running behind Pro E is different when compared to the software which is running behind CAD. So you have different languages. So that's why when we are storing a component, or else when we are saving a component, we save it in some standard format. And generally the standard formats which we use are IGS and step files. So the reason for storing these components into some standard format is one software can understand one language and another software can understand some other language. So a standard format is the language that can be understood by both the softwares. So like this, how well means we choose such a software that it is suitable for making the models, and at the same time whatever the versions in which it is saving, that should be read by some other computer or some other software if it is required. Next one is assemblies and model matching. See, we have top down assembly and bottom up assembly. So here either we make the component with then and there and we merge it, or else we'll make a components all components separately and then we'll bring all those components to one particular platform and we merge it. So these are the two types of assemblies. So when we are so whatever the software which you are choosing, that should be very easy for making the assembly. So if you want to join two axes or align two axes, or else if you want contact between two surfaces, or else you want to maintain a particular distance between two surfaces, or you want to keep both the planes so both the surfaces in a single plane, so whatever it is, you should be in the position to arrange it. It can be a distance or it can be angle. So your model or the software which you are choosing should be suitable for or flexible for making assemblies and merging the models. So that is about evaluation criteria of CAD/CAM. Next, let us look at the classification of hardware configuration. So here we have four different types of computers. First one is mainframe based systems. In case of mainframe based systems, we have very large size of computers and the storage of these computers is also very big. So most commonly these mainframe based systems are used in hospitals and banks. So the purpose of having such a big storage is the data should be exchangeable between both the offices. See, for example, if you have account in this office, you can look at your balance details and transaction details in some other bank also. So like this, if you have, so mainframe based systems are the systems where you have a large storage. And next is mini computer based system. Mini computer based system is a computer which you have at your home or your laptop. So these things comes under mini computer based system. When compared to mainframe based system, the memory of mini computer based system is very less. And what means you can many people can access the data if it is a mainframe based system, but in case of mini computer based system, you don't have this exchanging of data directly from the system. You have some other means of exchanging, not directly from the system. Next one is microcomputer based system. In case of microcomputer based system, we have a little compact size when compared to mini computer based system, and these are very cheap. So these are the small gadgets which we use, and here you have less memory when compared to mini computer based system. Next one is workstation based system. Workstation based system is the system in which you have some unique graphics, like you have some graphic cards and all. So like this, here you can make some animations, you can make some pictures, you can make some video graphics, and also wherever you can make so many wherever you can keep so many effects, that comes under workstation based system. So these are the different types of hardware configuration that are available in the CAD. Next one is a data structure. A data structure is a logical relationship between two elements. So if you have some element A and if you have some element B, the relationship between A and B is called a data structure. See, for example, if you want to come to a process B after completing a process A, then there is some logical relationship between A and B. So this relationship is called as data structure. We have two different types of data structure. First one is a linear data structure and second one is a non-linear data structure. So we have, in today's class, let us look at what is linear data structure. So in case of linear data structure, we'll have three different types of data structures, that is stack, queue and linked list. Stack is last in first out. See, for example, if you have some basket and if you're placing some books, so if you want to remove the book which is at the last, you have to remove the book which you have means if you want to remove the book which is at the base, it means which you have kept first, then you have to remove the book which is on the top. So here whatever that went inside at the last will come out first, so that is called last in first out. Next one is queue. Queue is first in first out. And example of the queue is, say for example, if you're standing in a bank and here the person who has come first will be served first and the person who came last will be served last. So like this, whoever comes first will be served first. So that is an example of first in first out. Next one is a linked list. Linked list is, here we have some logical relationship between the previous data and the present data. See, for example, if you are maintaining some accounts, so while maintaining some accounts, when you want to start the accounts of next academic year, we have to calculate the credits and debits of this particular academic year, and these calculations should be forwarded to the next academic year. So like this, in order to start the next element, we need the data of the previous element, and also in order to end this element, we have to carry forward the data from this particular link to, or from this element to next element. So if there is some link between one element to another element, then we call it as linked list. So linked list is something where you have some logical relationship between one element to another element. So that is about linear data structure. Next one is a non-linear data structure. In non-linear data structure, we have about trees, graphs, and tables. Uh, See, in case of linear data structure, everything will be in a sequence. It means after complete, see, if you take the first one, last in first out, here there is sequence, means after the first one we are going to second to third, like this. So everything is in sequence. But in case of non-linear data structure, either the relationship between many to one or one to many, so like this. So if there is no particular sequence, then we call it as a non-linear data structure. So these non-linear data structures are divided into trees, graphs and tables. So tree is some hierarchical model. So this is the representation of tree, where you have a root and you have some uh, elements. These are called as child nodes. So see, for example, A is the node, then B and C are the child nodes of A. So similarly, D and E are the child nodes of B. And you see, if you have some tree like this, DHI, this is called a subtree, and whatever you are finding here, the main one is called as the main tree. So this is and the level of the tree will increase with the increasing in the child nodes. See, root has level 0, uh, and next child nodes of root got level 1. So like this, the level is increasing. So with the increasing in number of child nodes, the level of the tree will also increase. See, if you have two child nodes for every parent node, then such tree is called as binary tree. And if you look at the figure which is here, everything is represented with zeros and ones. So you have two child nodes for every parent node. This is a binary tree. Next one is directed and non-directed graphs. In case of directed graphs, you have a arrow mark representation. It means you'll understand how data is flowing from one element to another element. You'll understand its relationship. But in case of non-linear undirected graph, you don't have this arrow marks, so you cannot understand how is the data exchange from one element to another element. So that is about directed and non-directed graphs. That is about today's class. Thank you.